Ethan buys a brand new car. Mark buys the same car, 3 years old. Same model, same color, same engine, same basic features. Ethan pays more, Mark pays less, and on the day they drive home, Mark looks like the obvious winner. He skipped the biggest depreciation hit. He has a lower monthly payment, he borrowed less money, he tells himself he made the responsible choice. Ethan tells himself something different. He didn't just buy a car, he bought certainty. No previous owner, no hidden accident history, no missed oil changes, no strange noises, no old repairs waiting to become his problem. They both think they made the smarter choice. But the real answer doesn't show up on the price tag. It shows up later, in the loan terms, in the repair bills, in the resale value, and in the years of ownership most people never calculate. Because the cheapest car on day one is not always the cheapest car by year 7. So let's keep this fair. Ethan and Mark are both 31 years old. They both earn about $62,000 a year. They both need a reliable car for work, groceries, weekend trips, and normal everyday life. They are not buying a luxury car. They are not trying to impress anyone. They're both looking at the same practical midsize sedan. Ethan buys it new for $34,000. He puts $5,000 down and finances the remaining $29,000 over 5 years at 5.5%. His payment comes out to about $554 a month. Mark buys the same model, but 3 years old, with 42,000 miles on it. The price is $24,000. He also puts $5,000 down and finances the remaining $19,000 over 5 years. But because used car loans usually carry higher rates, his interest rate is 8.5%. His payment comes out to about $390 a month. Right away, Mark is paying about $164 less every month. That's almost $2,000 a year. And from the outside, this doesn't even look close. Ethan paid $10,000 more for the same car. The moment he drives off the lot, the car is no longer new to anyone except him. The value drops. The smell fades. The first scratch eventually shows up. And the market immediately starts treating it like a used car. Mark avoided all of that. He let someone else take the first hit. That is the advice everyone gives. Never buy new, buy used. Let the first owner eat the depreciation. And for the first few years, that advice looks completely right. Month after month, Ethan sees $554 leave his account. Mark sees $390, same traffic, same parking lot, same commute, same car shape in the driveway. But Ethan is paying more for it every single month. At the end of year 1, Ethan has paid $6,648 in car payments, plus his original $5,000 down. Mark has paid $4,680 in payments, plus the same $5,000 down. Mark is already almost $2,000 ahead in cash flow. By year 3, the gap is bigger. Ethan has paid nearly $20,000 in monthly payments, plus the $5,000 down payment. Mark has paid about $14,000 in monthly payments, plus his $5,000 down payment. That means Mark has kept almost $6,000 more in his pocket over the first 3 years. And that's before we talk about depreciation. Ethan's $34,000 car is now 3 years old. Depending on the model, mileage, and market, it might be worth around $22,000 to $24,000. That means Ethan lost roughly $10,000 to $12,000 in value just by owning the car during the steepest part of the depreciation curve. Mark's car started at $24,000. After 3 more years, it is 6 years old. It might be worth around $15,000 to $17,000. He still lost value, but the fall was slower. He bought after the steepest drop. So through year 3, Mark is winning. Lower payment, lower loan, less depreciation, more cash left over. This is the part of the story every used car buyer loves. And honestly, this is why buying used became the default financial advice. On the surface, it works. The problem is that the surface is not the full cost. Because Mark did not just buy a cheaper car, he bought a cheaper car with a past. And that past starts showing up slowly. First, in the interest rate. Ethan borrowed $29,000 at 5.5%. Mark borrowed only $19,000, but at 8.5%. That does not destroy the used car advantage, but it does shrink it. Mark borrowed less money, but the money itself was more expensive. That is the first hidden layer. The second hidden layer is the warranty. Ethan's car comes with a full factory warranty. For the first few years, if something serious goes wrong, it is mostly not his problem. The screen glitches, the sensor fails, the air conditioning stops working, the transmission makes a strange noise. He brings it to the dealership, hands over the keys, and waits. Mark does not have that same protection. His car is already 3 years old. The bumper-to-bumper warranty is either finished or almost finished. The powertrain warranty might still have some life left, but not much. So when something breaks, Mark has to ask a different question. Not, is this covered? But, how much is this going to cost me? And that changes the emotional math of the car. Because a used car doesn't usually punish you every month. It waits. Then it hits you all at once. New tires, brake pads, battery, suspension, a check engine light that turns into a $900 repair. A small oil leak that becomes a weekend at the mechanic. A problem the previous owner ignored because they knew they were selling the car anyway. None of this means Mark made a bad choice. It means the cheaper price came with a different kind of risk. Ethan paid more upfront for control. Mark paid less upfront and accepted uncertainty. And uncertainty is hard to price when you are standing on a dealership lot looking at a clean car with a lower number on the windshield. The third hidden layer is maintenance timing. When Ethan buys new, the car is at mile zero. The tires are new, the brakes are new, the fluids are fresh, the battery is new. Every part starts its life with him. When Mark buys used, he starts at 42,000 miles. That is not bad, but it means the car is already moving toward the expensive middle of its life. At 50,000 miles, small things start appearing. At 60,000 miles, scheduled maintenance gets more serious. At 75,000 miles, wear items become harder to ignore. At 90,000 miles, the car can still be reliable, but it is no longer cheap in the same way. This is a trade most people miss. Mark avoided depreciation, but he inherited maintenance. And then there is the fourth hidden layer, the previous owner. This is the one nobody can fully calculate. A used car does not only come with mileage, it comes with someone else's habits, someone else's cold starts, someone else's missed service appointments, someone else's cheap tires, someone else's hard braking, someone else's I'll fix it later. The car can look clean. The report can look clean. The test drive can feel normal. But you still do not know how the car was treated for the first 3 years of its life. Ethan knows every mile on his car. Mark has to trust the miles before him. And this is where the simple advice starts to become less simple. Because buying used is not automatically smart. Buying used is smart when the discount is real, when the history is clean, when the model is reliable, when the inspection is done properly, and when the lower payment does not disappear into random spending. But if the discount is just delayed maintenance wearing a lower price tag, the math changes fast. By the end of year 3, Mark still looks ahead. But the lead is not as clean as it looked on day 1. He saved money on the payment. He avoided the steepest depreciation, but he is now driving a 6-year-old car, moving into the part of ownership where repairs stop being rare and start becoming normal. Ethan is still paying more, but he is driving a 3-year-old car with a known history, lower mileage, and fewer unknowns. The first half of the story belongs to Mark. The second half is where the car starts charging both of them in different ways. By year 5, both loans are finally finished. Ethan makes his last payment on the new car. Mark makes his last payment on the used one. On paper, this should be the point where the comparison becomes simple. Both men own their cars outright. No more monthly payments, no more loan balance, just 2 paid-off vehicles sitting in 2 different driveways. But they are not the same anymore. Ethan's car is now 5 years old, with about 60,000 miles on it. Mark's car is now 8 years old, with about 102,000 miles on it. Ethan spent more to get here, but he owns a younger car with a known history. Mark spent less to get here, but he owns an older car that is entering the part of its life where small problems can quickly become expensive. Let's look at the numbers. Ethan paid $5,000 down and roughly $33,240 in loan payments over 5 years. That puts his total paid at about $38,240. His car is now worth somewhere around $16,000 to $19,000, depending on the condition and market. He has paid more, but he still owns an asset with meaningful resale value. Mark paid $5,000 down and roughly $23,400 in loan payments. His total paid is about $28,400. That is almost $10,000 less than Ethan. On the surface, Mark is still winning, but his car is now 8 years old. Its resale value might be around $8,000 to $11,000. And by this point, he has probably started spending real money outside the loan itself. Maybe it was tires in year 4, maybe brakes in year 5, maybe a battery, suspension work, a sensor, a leaking gasket, or a check engine light that started as a small warning and ended as a $1,200 repair bill. None of those payments show up when people compare the purchase price, but they show up in the bank account. This is where the used car advantage begins to narrow. Mark did save money on the loan, but some of that savings was not actually saved. It was transferred to the mechanic. Not all at once, not predictably, just little by little, then suddenly. And this is the part people rarely include in the argument. A new car usually costs more in one clean, visible way. A used car can cost less in the beginning, but then charge you in irregular pieces. 1 month, nothing happens. The next month, the car needs $900. 3 months later, another $600. Then the tires are due, then the brakes, then the inspection finds something else. Ethan's pain was predictable. Mark's pain was random. That does not mean Ethan made the better choice. It means the comparison is not as simple as people pretend. Because the real question is not which car was cheaper to buy. The real question is which car was cheaper to own for the years they actually drove it. Now move the story forward 2 more years. Ethan has owned his car for 7 years. It is now 7 years old, with about 84,000 miles. Mark has also owned his car for 7 years, but his car is now 10 years old, with about 126,000 miles. This is the real checkpoint. Not the first day, not the first payment, not the first year. 7 years of ownership. This is where you can finally see the full shape of the decision. Ethan paid about $38,240 for the car and financing. Add maintenance and repairs over 7 years, maybe around $5,000 to $6,000. His insurance was probably higher in the earlier years because the car was newer, so maybe he paid an extra $2,000 compared to Mark. But at the end of year 7, Ethan can still sell the car for roughly $12,000 to $15,000. So Ethan's real cost is not just what he paid, it is what he paid plus repairs and insurance minus what the car is still worth. Roughly speaking, Ethan may be looking at an effective ownership cost somewhere around $31,000 to $33,000 over 7 years. Now look at Mark. He paid about $28,400 for the car and financing. That is much lower, but his maintenance and repairs over 7 years could easily be around $8,000 to $13,000 because he owned the car from 42,000 miles to 126,000 miles. His insurance may have been cheaper, so give him some credit there. But his resale value is now much lower, maybe $4,000 to $7,000. When you run the full math, Mark's effective cost may land somewhere around $30,000 to $33,000 as well. And that is the part most people do not expect. The used car looked dramatically cheaper on day 1, but after 7 years, once you include interest, repairs, maintenance, insurance, and resale value, the gap can become surprisingly small. Not always, not with every car, not in every market, but often enough that the simple rule, used is always smarter, stops being a rule and starts being a guess. Because Ethan and Mark did not buy the same thing. Ethan bought the expensive part of the car's life first. Mark bought the cheaper looking part, but closer to the repair heavy part. Ethan paid for depreciation. Mark paid for age. Ethan paid more to avoid uncertainty. Mark accepted uncertainty to pay less upfront. A new car charges you early. A used car charges you later. The mistake is thinking only one of them charges you. Now, this does not mean buying new is secretly genius. It can be one of the fastest ways to burn money if you do it wrong. If Ethan keeps the car for only 3 years, he loses. He pays the highest depreciation, the highest insurance, the highest purchase price, and then sells before he gets a long, useful life he paid for. That is how people turn new cars into financial damage. A new car only starts to make sense when you keep it long enough. 7 years, 10 years, sometimes longer. The longer Ethan keeps the car after the loan is gone, the better the math gets. Every payment-free year lowers his average annual cost. The worst version of buying new is not buying new. It is buying new, getting bored, trading it in, and restarting the depreciation cycle over and over again. That is where people get trapped, not in the car itself, but in the replacement cycle. The same is true for Mark. Buying used can be very smart, but only when the discount is real. A 3-year-old reliable car with clean service records, reasonable mileage, and a proper inspection can be a great deal. But a cheap used car with missing history, deferred maintenance, and a high interest rate is not a bargain. It is just a repair bill with wheels. Mark wins if he buys carefully. He wins if he checks the history, gets the inspection, chooses a reliable model, avoids overpriced used inventory, and keeps the monthly savings instead of spending them. If he saves the $164 monthly difference for 7 years, that alone becomes almost $14,000 before any investment growth. That changes the entire comparison. But if Mark simply absorbs a lower payment into his lifestyle, eats out more, upgrades his phone, adds subscriptions, and never actually saves the difference, then he did not use the used car advantage. He just made his car payment smaller and his life slightly more expensive. That is the hidden rule. Buying used only builds wealth if the savings stay saved. Otherwise, the advantage disappears quietly. So who actually wins? Ethan or Mark? The honest answer is it depends less on new versus used and more on behavior after the purchase. If Ethan buys new and replaces the car every 3 years, he loses badly. If he buys new, avoids unnecessary add-ons, gets a good financing rate, and drives the car for 10 years, the math can be reasonable. If Mark buys used carefully, avoids hidden problems, and saves or invests the payment difference, he probably wins. If he buys the cheapest car on the lot, ignores the inspection, pays a high interest rate, and spends the monthly savings, the used car advantage can vanish. The real winner is not the person with the lower sticker price. It is the person with the lowest cost per reliable year. That is the number almost nobody calculates. People compare the price on the windshield. They compare the monthly payment. They compare what the car is worth today. But the real cost is spread across the full life of ownership. Purchase price, interest, depreciation, insurance, repairs, maintenance, resale value, downtime, stress, and the number of years the car actually serves you without becoming a financial problem. That is why never buy new is too simple. And new cars are safer is also too simple. A new car can be a terrible purchase if you treat it like a short-term status upgrade. A used car can be a terrible purchase if you treat the lower price as proof that the math is already done. The car does not become cheap because the price is lower. It becomes cheap when the total years of use justify the total money you spent. That is the real math. The cheapest car is not the newest car. It is not automatically the used car either. The cheapest car is the one you can buy at a fair price. Finance responsibly, maintain properly, keep long enough, and sell before it turns into a constant drain. Ethan paid for certainty. Mark paid for a discount. Both can be smart. Both can be expensive. The difference is not the age of the car. The difference is whether you calculate the full cost before the car starts calculating it for you.